like to review some of the stuff we went over since there was so much material. You want to make sure you get review and don't just assume it all sank in on the first night. So last week we started using the verb is, which is the way you say what something is, as opposed to what something is like it's cold or it's hot or something, which would be ta. Now we learned it with the indefinite nouns because for reasons I don't want to get into, I don't want to go jumping into the definite nouns just yet. The way to say, to use is with an indefinite noun is the noun is placed after is, and then if there's a pronoun, that comes after that. So for example, to say I'm a secretary, you say is Rooney may. Okay, so is of course means is. Rooney is a secretary, and may is me or I. So literally you're saying, is secretary me? That's the word order. So once again, I'm a secretary, is Rooney me. And remember that when you're using is, the third person pronouns, she, she, and she'd, drop that initial S. So they become a for she, e for she, and id for she'd. So for example, to say he is a secretary, you would say, is Rooney a? As opposed to she, which you would use with ta. Now when using a person's name, the pronoun is still used, and then that's followed by the name. So if you wanted to say, John is a secretary, you'd say, is Rooney a Sean? Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing as he is a secretary, is Rooney a, and then you put the name in to specify who it is. So is Rooney a Sean? And remember, if you're going to use an adjective with the noun, the adjective comes after the noun. And I won't go over the rules again about what happens to the adjective, just depending on its masculine or feminine or plural. There was a sheet that was in last week's stuff. You should consult for that. But so, for example, to say John is a good secretary, you would say, is Rooney ma a Sean? So John is a secretary, is Rooney a Sean? But John is a good secretary. Is Rooney ma a Sean? And finally, as with all the verbs in Irish, there's 4 different forms of it. There's the one for making a positive statement, which in this case is. There's one for making a negative statement, and that to say something is not. And in that, for is, it is ni. Then there's a positive and negative question. So the positive question is on, and the negative question is na. So to say remember we had he is a secretary, is Rooney a. But he is not a secretary, ni Rooney a. The question, is he a secretary? On Rooney a. Isn't he a secretary? The negative question. Nach Rooney a. And remember to respond with indefinite nouns only. The way to say yes and no. Remember, once again, in Irish there are no words for yes and no, so you respond with the verb. However, is kind of a weird verb, so it doesn't quite follow the normal rules. So to say yes, you would say sha, which literally means something along the lines of it is so or it is. And to say no, you would say niha. Okay. So we have some examples of different uses of is here. To say I am a doctor, is doctor me. She is not a waitress, ni frastily e. These words were all in the vocabulary from last week, so just a little review. Question here, aren't they students? Nach Skolairi iad. She's a pleasant girl. Is Colleen Loch e. He's not a handsome man. You don't always have to say positive things about people, I guess. Ni far dahul e. And she's a good police officer. Is Garda ma e. And then I just threw one in for fun. Aren't they nasty thieves? Nach gadiha grana iad. So why don't we get a little practice with this, since I want to make sure everybody gets a good solid review of is, because that's an important It's basically leaping. Last week we leapt out of taw, and now we're going into sort of a different way of expressing things. So why doesn't everybody pick a sentence starting with Ian? Why don't you say, I am a doctor, and then we'll go around the room.
Is doctor me?
And the next one, Julie?
Ní frostal í.
Na sculiari iad.
Is Colin Lucky?
Okay. Nifar dahule.
Is garda mahi.
Bob?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my.
Look at the big
You can either get the big sentence at the bottom.
That is shit, Garana Ian.
Okay.
Is doctor me?
Okay, and the next one.
Ní frastali.
Okay. And why don't we wrap around again?
Nog scaloria ian.
Is Colleen loch í.
You're at
Oh, ni far na huri e.
Is Garland Mach E?
Not gariha garana ian.
Is doctor me.
E Prastari E.
Nach scholari Ian. Is Colleen Lucky.
okay. So is everybody following the structure here of how ist works as opposed to ta? Okay. So here's some nouns, and I give the singular and plural form, and M indicates masculine, F is for feminine. Oh, and for this sheet at the excuse me, at the top I put some endings you'll see on a lot of nouns that can indicate whether they're masculine or feminine. I won't go over those in great detail right here, but if you're interested in trying to spot what gender a word is before you use it, that would be a good thing to go over. So anyway, let's go over the nouns here. So the word in Irish for a musician is kioltor, and the plural musicians kioltori. A dancer is rinkior. Dancers are rinkiori. A singer is aurani. Singers auraniha. An artist is alientor. And artists alientori. A cook is kokara. And cooks are kokari. A baker is baker. And bakers bakeri. Which one did I just give you? Oh, now.
Bakers.
Yes, we're up to bakers.
Oh, I thought you were asking me which one did you do.
Oh no, there's two sheets that have been handed out. I just wanted to make sure I didn't give you the same one twice. So bakers, okay. A hairdresser is grugara. And the plural hairdressers, grugari. A mechanic is mechnior. Mechanics are mechniori. A dentist is fiaclor. Dentists are fiaclori. A bus driver is chamani bus. And bus drivers, chamani ha bus.
Wouldn't it be drivers as buses?
I guess the thing they drive is a bus. I mean, unless you can drive two buses at once, I suppose you don't. So let's see. The next one, lawyer is dliador. I'll say that one again because I think I messed it up. Dliador. That's a tricky one because DL is coming together to start a word. It's unusual. And the plural, lawyers are dliadori. A judge is brehev. And the plural, brehev. So that's a subtle difference. I'll go over that once again. A judge is brehev. And judges, brehev. Father is aher. Father is aher. Father's ahracha. Mother is maher. Mother's moichracha. Son is mach. Sons are mik. Daughter is inyin. And daughters, plural, inyinacha. And I thought I'd throw in a couple of adjectives at the end, just in case you want to expand your vocabulary there as well. So remember, there's a masculine and feminine form of the adjective. It's basically just, usually you just aspirate the first letter of the adjective, if it can be, for feminine nouns. But then there's also a plural one. So the word for rich in Irish for masculine nouns is sever,
Sever.
and